Hi there! Welcome to the CAE Grammar course. 150 keyword transformations plus explanations. If you have already studied English for several years, if you are on the verge of continuing your education in an English-speaking country, or you are just in a need for better English for your job, or just enjoy practicing the language and being sure you do speak correctly, then this is your course. My name is Vera. I have been teaching English to speakers of different languages for more than 8 years. Now, I want to share everything I know with you. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. It doesn't matter what your mother tongue is. Welcome to the first CAE Grammar course. Though the course is specially designed up to the format of the Cambridge exams, it's worth being taken by everyone with beyond intermediate knowledge of the language. How is the course structured? First, you will see an original sentence and the keyword given. At the bottom of the page, there is a second sentence with a blank inside. Your task is to paraphrase the original meaning, sticking as close to the original one as possible and using the word given. Two important notes. You are not allowed to change the word given. You are allowed to use from 3 to 6 words, including the word given. Once I read the transformation, pause the video. Take a piece of paper, rewrite the transformation given, and think how to do it by yourself. It's really important to try doing it all by your own. Then, play the video again and check the rule on the next slide. After that, check your answer. Listen to my explanations. If you still have any questions, just post them in the Q&A section and I will be there to answer. This is it. Practice makes perfect. It's always worth it. Good luck and welcome. Part 1. Sentence 1. You could have been seriously injured not wearing a seat belt. Think is the keyword. You should blank seriously injured not wearing a seat belt. So how you start thinking? In the first sentence, you have a hypothetical situation. You could have been injured. Something hypothetical that could have happened in the past. The transformation refers to the present, the first part given. You should. Then you have the infinitive, think. The structure you need. Think myself lucky. And after that, you have the conditional structure to keep the meaning of the first sentence. You should think yourself lucky you were not seriously injured not wearing a seat belt. Why you were not? Because this one refers to the past, the same as the meaning imposed by the first part of the upper sentence, you could have been. Sentence 2. Would you give us your answer as soon as possible? Convenience is the keyword. Please respond blank. Here you're required to think for a set phrase that you will find quite useful while doing your writing paper in the writing section. At your earliest convenience, which means as soon as possible. So please respond at your earliest convenience, the same as answer as soon as possible. This structure it is typical for the formal way of communication. Sentence number 3. I wasn't expecting my colleagues to organize a farewell party on my last day at the company. Taken is the keyword. I blank when my colleagues organized a farewell party on my last day. When you don't expect something, you're surprised when it happens. So start thinking about a structure that expresses surprise and at the same time take is part of the words that format. Be taken by surprise, the same as be surprised. Which means, I was taken by surprise when my colleagues organized a farewell party on my last day. Why was taken? Because the structure is passive. And from the first sentence you see that we are using past simple. So you just keep on using the same scheme of tenses, but transform up to the given structure required. Sentence number 4. It's not likely to happen, but if you're not satisfied with the product, we'll refund your money. Event is the keyword. The sentence blank that you are not satisfied with the product, your money will be refunded. So something that you are not satisfied. The set phrase you need here is in the unlikely event that, and this phrase matches exactly the meaning of the first part of the given sentence. It's not likely to happen. When you speak about something that is not likely to happen, obviously it is unlikely. And to impose on this, you can combine it in the unlikely event that. Sentence number 5. It's one thing to think there is a demand for your product and another to actually make a sale. World is the keyword. There's blank between thinking there is a demand for your product and actually making a sale. First, think for what is the meaning of what you need to fill in here. How would you say it? If you ignore the word world, you'd say there's a difference, or there's a big difference, or there's an enormous difference. Well, a synonym with similar meaning is there is a world of difference. World here is just used to impose how different the compared cases are. There's a world of difference between thinking there's a demand for your product and actually making a sale. Part 2. Sentence 6. I'm so sorry I didn't realize it was so late. Truck is the keyword. Sorry, I blank time. I'm sorry I didn't realize it was late. It means that you were not quite aware of the time. Probably you were not sure what time it was. And the phrase which expresses your thoughts in such a situation is lose track of the time. Sorry, I completely lost track of the time. Completely? You may add it, you may skip it. Keep in mind that you may use up to 6 words, so if I were you, I would place it there. Lost, because the first sentence is in past simple and you're keeping the same tense in the transformation. 7. My dog tends to bark a lot when it's left alone. Habit is the key word. My dog is blank a lot when it's left alone. When you tend to do something, it means that this is your habit, that you have the habit of doing something. Or tend to do is the same as be in the habit of doing something. My dog is in the habit of barking a lot when it's left alone. Tends to plus the infinitive, in the habit of plus the verb posing. Number 8. Clara could only afford that dress because of the loan you gave her. Lent is the key word. Had blank money, she wouldn't have been able to afford that dress. Think carefully here. So what kind of information we have? She could do something because of something else. The transformation. Skip the first part. She wouldn't have been able to afford it. Which means, if something hadn't happened, something else wouldn't have been able to happen, right? We speak about the past. Both of the actions are in the past, which probably rings the bell that we speak about third conditional. Yes. And apart from this one, we need inversion. Inversion is something we'll mention a lot of times during the course, and this is the first time when I will introduce it to you. So, up to now, what we know, we need third conditional. For example, if you hadn't lent the money to Clara, she wouldn't have been able to afford the dress. But the transformation is set to start with had. If you hadn't is the same as had you not. Had, and after that you have the structure the same as in a question. Had you not? But it's a normal question, it's just with inversion. It means that the subject and the verb exchange their places. Had you not lent money to Clara, she wouldn't have been able to buy the dress. 9. He lost the race as he didn't run as quickly as the rest of the boys. Pace is the keyword. His loss was blamed on his ability, blank, rest of the boys. Think again for a set phrase. If you have already passed the previous course of mine, or at least you have passed FC, you've noticed that in the FC exam, most of the transformations are based on grammar. It's grammar structures that is tested all the time, almost all the time. Here, the emphasis is on set phrases in combination with grammar. But you're expected just to show that you can speak the language at a different level. So because of that, pay attention on as many set phrases, idioms, collocations, whatever, as possible. In this case, we need keep pace with somebody, which means behave or do something with the same speed as somebody else. The sentence. His loss was blamed on his inability to keep pace with the rest of the boys. inability or ability to do something, and the phrase keep pace with somebody. 10. You must try to accept that you will never run your own company. Terms is the keyword. You must blank fact that you will never run your own company. Try to accept, synonym with terms in this one. Again, a set phrase we need. Come to terms with. Come to terms with means exactly accept something, agree that something will happen. You must come to terms with the fact that you will never run your own company. Must, modal verb, infinitive after that, and the structure following. Part 3. Sentence 11. If you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't dismantle the watch. Apart is the keyword. Don't blank. You know what you're doing. I'm giving you the same hint I've mentioned in the previous video. In the CAE Transformations, always be careful because they, most of the times, consist of two parts. The first one is testing your vocabulary knowledge. It would be either a phrasal verb or a set phrase or a collocation or an idiom. The second part is testing your grammar. So here, for example, look at the first sentence. The meaningful verb, the second one, is dismantle. Dismantle is the same one as take apart, as a phrasal verb. So the first part is almost clear. You need to use take apart. After that, if you don't know, and in the second case you have don't, blah blah, you know. Don't forget the linking unless. Unless means if not. Keeping in mind that here in the second sentence the verb is positive, the verb is know, not don't know. It means that you need a positive linking giving you the negative connotation. In other words, don't take the watch apart unless you know what you're doing. Take apart, the same as dismantle. Unless means if not. It keeps the negative connotation inside, and the verb needs to stay positive. You don't need the negative one here. Number 12. The weather seems to be improving this afternoon. Signs. The weather, blank, this afternoon. This one I think is easy. Show signs of doing something, or show signs of and the noun from this verb. In our case, the weather is showing signs of improving this afternoon, or the weather is showing signs of improvement this afternoon. Number 13. James said that the reason his poor exam performance was his illness. Blamed is the keyword. James blank on his illness. Blame is one of the keywords I'll introduce you several phrases with, but one at a time. And as this is the first time we are introduced to blame, the first phrase is blame something on somebody or on something. Just be careful with the prepositions, because if you make a mistake choosing the preposition, you will be deprived of the point, and each transformation brings 2 points. You need both of them, trust me. James blamed his poor exam performance on his illness. So blame something on something else. It could be on somebody, for example, on his sister's behavior. Blame something on something, somebody. Why blamed? Because we are keeping the same tense as the one in the original sentence, past simple. 14. You won't be able to come into this club without a shirt. Prevent is the keyword. The transformation. You, blank, into this club without a shirt. You won't be able means you will not be allowed to do it. Something will stop you. Well, this similar meaning you have imposed by the word you need to use, by the keyword for the transformation. Prevent somebody from doing something is the structure you need to be aware of. And what's happening? You will be prevented from coming into this club without a shirt. Why? You won't be able. First, the tense is will future, simple future. In the second transformation, it is the passive structure that you need. You will be prevented, which means that somebody will prevent you. You will be prevented from, and after from, you have the ing form of the verb. And 15. John said he almost never went out on a Wednesday night. Be careful, the first one is reported speech, the second one direct. Rarely is the keyword. Blank, out on a Wednesday night, John said. Good, let's start it vice versa. John said, as I've mentioned, it's an already transformed sentence from direct into indirect speech. He almost never went out. Never is a marker for a simple tense, in our case past simple, which means that after applying the rule for one step back in time, the indirect speech is now in past simple. Move it one step up to come to the direct speech. Yeah, it means that you need the present simple here. So this is the first part of the transformation. Somehow you need to use present simple. After that, the keyword given is rarely. Rarely is one of the words which, when the sentence started with it, needs inversion, requires inversion after that. Inversion, I've told you. Think for it as a question structure that you need to use in an affirmative, in a positive sentence. And what's happening? Rarely do I go out on a Wednesday night. Rarely, inversion of present simple. For the inversion, think as a question. So, do I go out? Why present simple? Because it is a transformed sentence from indirect speech in the first one with past simple used. Part 4. Sentence 16. Meghan apologized to Harry for saying he was a coward. Back is the keyword. Meghan, blank, she said about Harry being a coward. Reading the first sentence, you get the idea that you need to substitute apologize for saying with a phrasal verb consisting of back and something else. Take back is the phrasal verb that you need. To take back something means to admit that something you said was wrong. So, Meghan took back what she said about Harry being a coward. 17. I don't think Mika hitting your car was an accident. Purpose is the keyword. I think Mika blank. When you think that something was not an accident, you think the opposite. You think that it was done on purpose. So the lexical part, on purpose, the preposition on is tested. The second part, is the verb hit. Please don't write hit. Hit is an irregular verb, and the three forms are hit, hit, hit. I think Mika hit your car on purpose. 18. It's not the overtime I resent, it's the pay freeze, said Trevor. Objected. Trevor, blank, pay freeze, then the overtime. Objected, verb in the past. Obviously, this will be the meaningful in the transformation. And from here on, object to doing something, the first kind of phrase. The second one, object to something. Trevor objected more to the pay freeze than the overtime. How? I understood it and why. In the given part of the transformation, you have then as a linker, which means that you need comparison. Object to something more than to something else. In the second part of the transformation, the part after then, you have a noun phrase, which means the first part needs to be a noun phrase as well. Number 19. Don't tell Chris too much or you'll regret it, Sally told June. Against. Sally, blank, too much to Chris. The first sentence sounds like giving a piece of advice, right? And you need to use against. So the verb advice plus against is followed by verb plus ing. And this is the rule you need to apply in this case. Sally advised June against saying too much to Chris. 20. You are not ever allowed in this laboratory. Time is the keyword. At blank, permitted to be in this laboratory. The transformation consists of two parts. Again, the first one, think for the structure that starts the sentence. Hint, this structure requires inversion, and this is the second part of the transformation, the lexical and the grammar one. At no time or never. This is the phrase that you need. And what's happening? At no time are you permitted to be in this laboratory. Why? The first sentence, you are not ever allowed, which is the same as you are never allowed, is in present simple. In the transformation, never or not ever is substituted for at no time. At no time requires inversion in present simple. I told you to think for inversions as questions, okay? So at no time are you permitted, because you are permitted is the normal word order, are you permitted to be. Part 5. Sentence 21. Don't ever open this door. Account is the keyword. Blank. Should you open this door? Reading the second sentence, you see that there is inversion already implied. Should you open this door? Which means that the beginning needs to be a structure which requires inversion. And the structure with account that requires inversion is on no account. On no account should you open this door. Number 22. Daniel regretted speaking so rudely to his landlord. More is the keyword. Daniel, blank, politely to his landlord. Read the first sentence carefully. Regretted speaking, which means that regretted something which has already happened. In other words, you have regret about the past. More politely. So in the transformation, you're going to use the opposite adjective, which means probably you need kind of a conditional structure. And in this case, the conditional structure is the wish sentence. Daniel expresses a wish about the past. When you express a wish about the past, wish is followed by past perfect. Daniel wished he had spoken more politely to his landlord. Number 23. This manual is too difficult for me. Concerned is the keyword. As, blank, this manual is too difficult for me. Whenever you see concerned in such kind of exercises or even at the exam, the structure that needs to come to your mind is as far as I am concerned. As far as I am concerned, this manual is too difficult for me. Number 24. Susan couldn't get to the date because of the heavy rain. Prevented is the keyword. The heavy rain, blank, getting to the date. Getting, which means this will be the second verb form, and the given verb prevent requires gerund itself. The only thing more you need to think about is the preposition from. Prevent somebody from doing something. The heavy rain prevented Susan from getting to the date. "25th. Sally gets on well with her father-in-law. Terms: Sally is blank her father-in-law. Set phrases here. And you have an option. First, the structure that you need to paraphrase is get on well with. Obviously, one of the key words the new phrase needs to include is terms. And the options are two. Be on good terms with somebody, or be on speaking terms with somebody. Sally is on good terms with her father-in-law. Sally is on speaking terms with her father-in-law. Both of these meaning that she gets on well with her father-in-law. Part 6. Sentence 26. I didn't realize what she would suffer in the first place. Did is the key word. Little blank would suffer in the first place. Little at the beginning of the sentence requires inversion after that. Another hint to help you think about inversions in this case is the keyword did, the word that helps you form the question, the auxiliary verb. Little did I realize what she would suffer in the first place. Did I realize? The structure is the same as a question, the mark I told you for inversions. Number 27. The pupils are living temporarily in a hotel. Being is the key word. For blank, the pupils are living in a hotel. Set phrase is what you need here. A phrase which means for a period of time, not forever. For the time being. A phrase which is quite appropriate to be used in your writings as well and in your speakings even. Depends of course how you will formulate it and how you will include it in order to sound natural, but try to make it part of your active vocabulary. For the time being, the pupils are living in a hotel. Part 28. It looks as if he's forgotten about the meeting again. He seems blank about the meeting again. When there is a difference in the tenses used in the given sentence, be very careful. What we have here, it looks, now, present simple, as if he has forgotten, present perfect, some moment in the past, about the meeting again. He seems substitutes looks at this time, and seems requires to. But you can't say he seems to forget. And you can't say it because it means that the two actions happen one after another. It's not like that. First he has forgotten, and after that you come to the realization what might have happened. In other words, what you need is the perfect infinitive. He seems to have forgotten about the meeting again. This structure, the perfect infinitive, shows exactly that the act of forgetting happened before the moment of your realization what might have happened. 29. Jenny isn't a bad accountant, but I don't think it is a very suitable occupation for her. Cut is the key word. I just don't think Jenny blank an accountant. You need an idiom here. Either you know it or I think you can't just figure it out. And the idiom is cut out to be something, which means to be well suited for a certain position. In our case, Jenny and the role of the accountant. I just don't think Jenny is cut out to be an accountant. 30. We had no problems at all during our holiday in Turkey. Plan is the key word. Everything blank during our holiday in Turkey. Easy transformation. It's based on vocabulary knowledge only. go according to plan or according to the plan. This is the phrase required from you, and the meaning is clear. When something happens on the way you've arranged it or the way you've intended it to happen, you say, yeah, everything went according to our plan or according to the plan. Everything went to the plan or according to the plan during our holiday in Turkey. Part 7. Sentence 31. It's possible Claire phoned while we were out. May is the keyword. Claire, blank, while we were out. It's possible you speak about a probability, about a possibility, about a probability that something has happened in a moment before. The keyword transformation is may. In other words, you need to talk about a probability in the past using a modal verb. In this case, the modal verb can be either may or might or even could, plus have and the third form of the verb. Claire may have phoned while we were out. You are not sure, but it's possible to have happened. Number 32. Our class has won the history quiz for the 3rd year running. Succession is the keyword. For the blank, our class has won the history quiz. For the 3rd year running means 3 years, one after another, something has been happening. And you need to substitute this final phrase with another one expressing the same meaning and consisting of succession and something else. The phrase you need is in succession. In succession means happening one after another. In other words, for the 3rd year in succession, our class has won the history quiz. Number 33. The thunderstorm brought their tennis match to an abrupt end. Could is the keyword. They had to blank because of the thunderstorm. Abrupt end means unexpected end. So they had to stop their match unexpectedly before the planned deadline or before the planned end, just because something happened, because there was an external reason for this one. And this whole meaning you need to keep and express via phrasal verb with cut. This phrasal verb is cut short. To cut short means to end unexpectedly or abruptly before its planned conclusion. So, they had to cut short their tennis match because of the thunderstorm. Number 34. What used to be my workplace is now a Thai restaurant. Turned is the keyword. My old workplace, blank, Thai restaurant. The structure used to be is associated with something that was typical for the past and does not correspond to the present anymore. So, what used to be my workplace is now a Thai restaurant. Something used to be on that way, now it is different. And this transformation you need to keep and to express via turned. Turn into. is the phrasal verb that you need. My old workplace has been turned into a Thai restaurant. Why has been? Why present perfect? Because you speak about something that happened in an undefined period in the past with a reflection in the present. And this reflection in the present is that at the moment, my workplace is not there. At the moment, there is a Thai restaurant there. What you need to say is that your expectations were bigger and they were not met. You just didn't receive what you expected. This not expected result is expressed with a structure that contains come inside. To come up to one's expectations means to be as good as you have hoped. And in our case, we need the opposite. It was not as good as I hoped. Obviously, you need the negative form. The service at the hotel didn't come up to my expectations. Why didn't? Because the tense in the original sentence is past simple. Part 8. Sentence 36. She has taken it upon herself to take care of her mother. Committed is the key word. She has blank care of her mother. Commit myself to doing something means to devote myself to doing something. And this is the meaning required from you in order to fill in the missing part of the transformation. She has committed herself to taking care of her mother. Number 37. Were Anne not so beautiful a girl, John wouldn't be marrying her. Great structure. Beauty is the key word. And then, but, blank, John wouldn't be marrying her. In the original sentence, beautiful is the adjective which characterizes the girl. In the transformation, you have the noun given, which means you need to think for a structure that starts with but and may be included in a combination with a noun. But for something means if not for something. If this thing didn't exist, something else wouldn't happen. In our case, but for Anne's beauty, John wouldn't be marrying her. How you understood this one? But for Anne's beauty, I told you it means that if not this one, the situation is hypothetical because she is a beautiful girl. And the second structure, the second part of the transformation, is hypothetical again. It's second conditional. Number 38. I was surprised to find out that Martin hadn't married Jane. Surprise is the key word. It, blank, me, that Martin hadn't married Jane. I was surprised. In the original sentence, surprised is the adjective. I was surprised. The key word is the noun from this adjective. So you need a structure with the noun followed by a pronoun after that. The verb in this case is come. Something comes to me as a surprise or comes as a surprise to somebody means that you were surprised by something. It came as a surprise to me that Martin hadn't married Jane. Number 39. The deaths of almost 60 people were caused by the tornado. Resulted is the key word, and the transformation. The tornado blank almost 60 people. Result in means that I cause something. The preposition is tested here. The tornado resulted in the deaths of almost 60 people. Don't forget the prepositions. Sometimes, just because the structure has come to your mind, you are just excited to write it down and to be sure that everything is on the paper, and you forget some small details such as a preposition here or there or an article. And this one may deprive you of not even 1 but 2 points. So be focused while writing these structures. Number 40. I wish I'd had the chance to visit Dublin, Peter said. Peter regretted blank the chance to visit Dublin. I wish I'd had which sentence which refers to the past. How I understood it, because we have I had the chance, past perfect. Past perfect is used in the case when you when you wish something had happened in the past, or in other words, when you regret about something not having happened in the past. Why not having happened? Because the verb regret in this sentence is in the past. And to put the emphasis on the fact that you speak about a moment before that, you need the perfect structure. Peter regretted not having had the chance to visit Dublin. Even the easiest key I can give you here. Peter regretted not having the chance to visit Dublin. You are using 2 words. In CAE, the minimum is 3, so there is something wrong. Another way to say it. Peter regretted that he hadn't had the chance to visit Dublin. Same as meaning, you're keeping the sequence of tenses by leaving regretted in past simple and moving the action 1 step behind, thanks to past perfect. Part 9. Sentence 31. Brian was really interested in North American history in his school days. Interest is the key word. Brian blank North American history in his school days. The transformation requires from you to change the adjective into a noun and to insert this noun into the transformed phrase that you're going to come up with. Be interested in is the same as have an interest in something. Brian had an interest in North American history in his school days. Why past simple? Because this is the tense used in the original sentence. And again, please be careful with the details. The article is important to be added. The preposition is what is tested, in fact. Number 42. The manager should think about experience when hiring new staff. Consideration is the key word. The manager should blank when hiring new staff. To think about something is the same as to consider something. But as a keyword, here you have consideration, the noun, which means you need to exchange consider something with take something into consideration. This is the set phrase which is used with the noun coming from the verb consider. The manager should take experience into consideration when hiring new staff. Why the infinitive? Just pay attention to the modal verb used before that. Take something into consideration, the same as consider something. Sentence 43. The anti-smoking advertisement does not stop people from smoking. Ineffective is the keyword and the transformation. The anti-smoking advertisement is blank people from smoking. To stop somebody from doing something means to have effect over somebody, to do something. In our case, we are using the opposite adjective, ineffective, which needs to substitute the whole negative structure, does not stop. And what it turns into is be ineffective at doing something. The anti-smoking advertisement is ineffective at stopping people from smoking. Just please consider the spelling of stopping. Yeah, I agree, it's elementary, but it's something that again quite often happens as a mistake exactly because it is underestimated. Number 44. You must never let anyone use your identity card. Should is the keyword. Under blank, let anyone else use your identity card. Have you already got the idea which is the most common transformation that we are talking about? This is the one that in fact you should always consider if going to the CAE exam, or this is the inversion. So you must never let is the same as under no circumstances should you do something. Under no circumstances is the phrase your transformation needs to start with. And just seeing under and the beginning, it should ring the bell that this is what you are required to think about. Under no circumstances, inversion, think of it as a question. Should you let anyone else use your identity card? Number 45. The football club is now being run by an experienced accountant. Taken is the keyword. An experienced accountant, blank, running of the football club. Thinking about the structure given, you need a phrasal verb. And this phrasal verb is to express management or having managing qualities. Take over something. This is the keyword that you need. This is the phrasal verb. To take over something means to take management or control. An experienced accountant has taken over the running of the football club. Why present perfect? First, you are given the indicator by the keyword given there. Considering that the first sentence is in present simple, you can't use past perfect. That could be your other option with taken, I mean with the third form of the verb. And why present perfect? Because an experienced accountant has taken over the running club at some moment in the past, and it's your opinion now. This is what you see now as a result of him entering this position. Part 10. Sentence 46. If he doesn't get that job, who knows what he'll do? Knowing is the keyword. If he doesn't get that job, blank, what he'll do. It's a phrase that you need to use in order to substitute who knows. Or, in other words, this phrase needs to indicate that nobody knows, nobody is aware of what will happen. And this impersonal construction is there is no knowing. Remember it because it's not that commonly used. And at the same time, you may take advantage of it in your writing as well as in your speaking. Just don't look at the grammar part as grammar for itself. The grammar part helps you improve all the other components that you will be tested about at the exam. If he doesn't get that job, there is not knowing what he'll do. Number 47. The moment I shouted, he ran away. Sooner is the keyword. No, blank, he ran away. It's a typical CAE transformation. Of course, it includes inversion, but it's not only that. Here, the inversion is a little bit stranger. And it's stranger because the two parts of the inversion are separated. What I mean? The phrase you need is no sooner, inversion, then, and after that the sentence continues. No sooner had I shouted, then he ran away. What students usually do is forgetting the then part. Why you need it? Because no sooner, sooner is in comparative. So you need the comparison. And in order to finish the comparative structure, you need then as a linker. It's logical, in fact. No sooner, inversion. The moment I shouted, he ran away. So no sooner I had shouted, no sooner had I shouted than something had happened when something else happened. This one is again typical. You go back one step in time when using no sooner. Number 48. Apparently, the restaurant in town has been bought by someone else. Over is the keyword. I hear the restaurant in town, blank. The phrasal verb you need here has been already discussed. It means to manage, to take control over something. And this phrasal verb is take over. I hear the restaurant in town has been taken over. Now about the tense structure. First, you use present perfect as this is the tense used in the general sentence. But it's not simply present perfect, it's the passive. And it's the passive because someone else has taken over the restaurant, which means the restaurant has been taken over. Sentence 49. Sarah started crying when she was told she'd failed her driving test. Sarah broke blank soon as she heard she'd failed her driving test. The verb is in past simple, so this is the main tense. Think about a phrase which means losing your emotional control. And after that, how can you paraphrase crying? Again, two parts of the transformation as always in CAE. So to break down means to lose control of someone's emotions. And you break down in tears. Sarah broke down in tears as soon as she heard she'd failed her driving test. Don't forget the as part. You have the as soon as construction started, but it's not finished yet. Another way to say it is Sarah broke down and cried as soon as she heard she'd failed the test. Number 50. The government recently said our problems are the fault of the world economic crisis. Placed is the keyword. The government have blank the world economic crisis for our problems. It's again the blame structures. Put the blame on somebody or something is the same as place the blame on somebody or something. And this is the new structure that we are introducing with this transformation. So far, you've been aware of put. The government have placed the blame on the worldwide economic crisis for our problems. Part 11. Sentence 51. You let me believe the job was mine if I wanted it. Impression is the key word. I blank that the job was mine if I wanted it. Two different phrases you may use here with impression. To give somebody the impression or to be under the impression that. I was given the impression that the job was mine if I wanted it. Why I was given? Because the first sentence is in past simple and the first sentence is in active. But the second one, in the second sentence, the doer of the action is changed. Because of this, you need the passive voice. The other option. I was under the impression that the job was mine if I wanted it. Sentence 52. I ought never have thought that at the age of 17 he would be playing for his country. Little is the key word, and after that at the age of 17 he would be playing for his country with blank at the beginning. The key word little, I hope, already rings the bell that you need inversion again. And the inversion is of the first part. Little did I think that at the age of 17 he would be playing. I would have never thought. Past simple in the inversion. Little did I think that he would be playing for his country. 53. Feel free to telephone if you have any further problems. Call is the key word. Do not blank if you have any further problems. It's a phrase again that you will find handy when writing your letters, for example, or your recommendations at the exam or in real life after that. The phrase you need here is do not hesitate to. Usually a letter may finish with do not hesitate to contact me if further information required or if further details needed. In our case, do not hesitate to call if you have any further problems. Number 54. When you do decide what you want to do, please let us know. Mind is the key word. When blank what you want to do, please let us know. I'd wish to comment on the first phrase, just on the first part of the original sentence. When you do decide, it means when you really decide, and the emphasis is put on this, that an action is required. So when you finally decide what you want, okay? This decision-taking is what needs to be paraphrased in the second sentence with mind. The phrase I think you know, make up my mind. In the transformation, when you make up your mind what you want to do, please let us know. You can also add when you finally make up your mind. It would be even clearer and closer to the original of the first sentence. 55th. Do you mind if I come over to see you later? Objection is the keyword. Do you blank coming over to see you later? Have an objection to somebody doing something. In our case, do you have any objection to me coming over to see you later? Any, because you have the question sentence, and it's used just to emphasize that a response is required for this part exactly, for the objection. If there is an objection, any objection, just a response to be given. Part 12. Sentence 56. I'm sure you are wondering why I haven't phoned you. Must is the keyword. You blank why I haven't phoned you. Certainty is expressed in the original sentence. Must is given as a keyword transformation. Must as a modal verb has several meanings when talking about the present and about the past. One of these meanings is exactly expressing certainty that something has happened. Something important to pay attention to here. You are wondering. The verb is in a continuous form. This same structure needs to be saved when using the modal verb, when paraphrasing with the modal verb. So in order to show this progress with must, the phrase is must be, always be, and after that the verb plus ing. You must be wondering why I haven't phoned you. 57. As it was raining heavily, we couldn't have the picnic we had planned. Prevented is the verb. The blank, the picnic we had planned. The second verb after the verb prevent needs to follow the structure prevent somebody from the preposition doing something. And applied in our transformation. The heavy rain prevented us from the preposition having, verb was ing, the picnic we had planned. Number 58. Recently, the number of people who study a degree has gone up. Rise is the keyword. Recently, blank, the number of people who study a degree. When something goes up, it means that there is a movement upward in the number of people, in this case, engaged in something. And another way to say it is to say that there is a rise in something. Recently, there has been a rise in the number of people who study a degree. Recently is a marker for perfect tense, and that's why the same structure which is applied in the original sentence is saved and applied in this one. Present perfect you need, not present simple. Number 59. The police came within minutes. Matter is the key word. It blank before the police came. When something happens within minutes, it means that just several minutes, several moments, a period of something is important for this thing to happen. And to express this same idea with matter, you use it is a matter of, for example, it's a matter of minutes, it's a matter of hours, it's a matter of years. It depends just what kind of period you will specify in regard to the activity that's applied after that. It was a matter of minutes before the police came. Number 60. Can anyone solve the problem? Come is the keyword. Can anyone blank to this problem? Solve is the verb used in the first sentence. One of the other typical transformations in the CAE exam, or in the transformations at this level in general, is that quite often you are required to change the form of the verb, of the word. From verb you may go to noun, from noun to adjective, and vice versa. In our case, to solve is the same as to come up with a solution. Solution is the noun, the derivative from solve, not salvation. Quite common mistake again. Salvation comes from save, and from solve is solution. Can anyone come up with a solution to this problem? Part 13. Sentence 61. Are you saying that I'm lying about what happened? Truth. Are you accusing blank about what had happened? The transformation that has already been set is from true, say something true, to truth, the noun, which means that you need to include the noun in the transformative structure. Accusing, accuse, the verb that has already been used, requires ing after that. The whole structure is accuse somebody of preposition something, of doing something. Are you accusing me of not telling the truth about what happened? Not. It is required by the meaning of the structure, of the context. Number 62. It's possible that the burglars got into the building by forcing open a fire exit. Gained is the key word. The burglars may blank by forcing open a fire exit. Similar scenario you may have already seen. It's possible, so you're talking about possibility, probability that you come to in the present. And this possibility refers to something that has happened in the past, or that may have happened in the past. The hint I've already given you. May have happened. This is the structure from a grammar point of view that you need. The modal verb, after that have, always, it's not changed. After that, the third form of the verb. The burglars may have gained, and here the vocabulary part, may have gained entry or may have gained access by forcing open a fire exit. Number 63. Many people believe that Edison has the ability to become world judo champion. Capable is the key word. Many people believe that Edison blank the world championship in judo. Transformation 1 that has already been made. In the original sentence is said world judo champion. In the transformation, world championship in judo. He has the ability. Having the ability means that you are able or you're capable of doing something. The transformation. Many people believe that Edison is capable of winning, of winning the world championship in judo. Number 64. I was disappointed to hear that Leo had decided not to play basketball anymore. Up is the key word. Leo's decision to blank as a disappointment to me. In the original sentence, had decided not to play is the verb pattern, the verb structure. In the transformation, it's up to you to come up with the verb. And because you have the up part given, obviously we speak about a phrasal verb. Give up. Give up something, means stop doing something. Here the options are two. Leo's decision to give up basketball came as a disappointment to me. This is the normal way to say it, the ordinary way. If you want to add Leo's decision to give up basketball game came as a disappointment to me, this would be also accepted. Number 65. I've been too busy to phone you, but I'll do it soon. Round is the key word. I blank you, but I'll do it soon. This is one of the transformations that if you are not aware of the structure, it's almost impossible just to guess what should be written there. Get around to doing something means to do something after you have intended to do it for some time. So the structure that we need to insert, to change and to use in our transformation is get round to doing something. I haven't got round to phoning you, but I'll do it soon. Why present perfect? Because this is the same tense as the tense used in the original sentence in the first part. I haven't got round to phoning you. Get round to doing something. Part 14. Sentence 66. Economists say that the situation is bound to improve. Doubt is the key word. Economists say that there is blank better. Be bound to means that something for sure will happen. And another phrase that this one may be exchanged for is there is no doubt that. Economists say that there is no doubt the situation will get better. Be careful when it comes to the number of words you use in your transformation. Here, for example, you may also say there is no doubt that, but adding it, you will have already used 7 words, not 6, and the maximum you're allowed to take advantage of is 6. So you think which word may be omitted? That, obviously. Number 67. My mother was the person who started my interest in reading. Got is the key word. It blank in reading. The transformation is easy, just you need to be careful to implement the whole structure. So you are interested in something, but you are not interested by yourself, rather thanks to somebody else's efforts. Well, this other person, the mother, needs to be presented by the impersonal it structure. It was my mother who got me interested in reading. Who or that can be substituted for each other here. They are interchangeable. Number 68. What's confusing you so much? Lot is the keyword. What is that's blank confusion? So much is the phrase at the end which helps you understand that there is something confusing a lot, something that's causing a lot of confusion. And the same meaning needs to be paraphrased by the lot word. Such a lot of. It's not a very common way of talking, but you've probably already got used to the fact that exactly such kind of structures and of patterns are practiced during the CAE exam. So you'd better just start using them and that's it. What is that's causing such a lot of confusion? Such a lot of, the same as so much. Number 69. She made a very quick decision and she didn't think about the matter enough. Without is the keyword. She made a very quick decision, blank, to the matter. The second part of the original sentence is what needs to be transformed. And she didn't think about the matter enough. She didn't think, without is the keyword, so you need to do something with without thinking a lot, probably. Give thought to something is the phrase which needs to be transformed here in order to be kept exactly the same meaning as the one of the original sentence. So, what we have? She made a very quick decision without giving enough thought to the matter. Number 70. It took them some time to understand fully what I was explaining. While is the keyword. It was blank what I was explaining. It took them some time, so you need a phrase to keep the fact that some period passed with while. And this says it is a while before, or here there are other options for the linker as well. It was a while until, till, before. The three of them can be used, doesn't matter which one you drop. Before they fully understood what I was explaining. Part 15. Sentence 71. He thinks his friends do not appreciate him. Granted is the keyword. He dislikes blank by his friends. As soon as you see granted in a kind of transformation, the phrase that needs to come to your mind is take somebody for granted. So from a lexical point of view, this is. From a grammar one, he dislikes. Dislike as a verb pattern is followed by a verb plus ing. So what's happening? He dislikes being taken for granted by his friends. '72. My passport needs renewing because I'm going abroad this summer. Get is the keyword. I need blank because I'm going abroad this summer. It's again a transformation that's quite common for CAE. Even in FC it should have been met somewhere. There are two ways to formulate this structure. The first one, which is tested here, is get something done. The other one is have something done. And it means to need a professional favor done by someone else for you. I need to get my passport renewed because I'm going abroad this summer. So need requires to verb, so to get something done is the structure. To get my passport renewed because I'm going abroad. 73. Could I ask you if you'd mind looking after my dog while I'm away on holiday? Wondering is the keyword. I blank willing to look after my dog while I'm away on holiday? Could I ask you will be substituted with wondering, it's clear. And from there on, when you introduce the if clause, it's better to make it more polite. Making it more polite is with referring to past simple. Here it's not a conditional sentence exactly, it's just a polite way to introduce your request. I was wondering if you are willing to look after my dog while I'm away on holiday. Of course, you may say it if you are willing. The difference is that on this way, as I've mentioned, it's more polite. 74. Repairing that old computer is pointless in my view. Point is the keyword. I can blank that old computer being repaired. Pointless in the original sentence, point as a keyword for the transformation. Probably it's getting clear what exactly you need to do here. See no point in. This is the way to transform the adjective, pointless, into a noun phrase with exactly the same meaning. I can see no point, pay attention to the preposition in, that old computer being repaired. '75. Clara said that she had not seen the missing letter. Having. Clara blank the missing letter. Having is not the verb here. What you need to do is to think about the verb and then to figure out what kind of structure is required after the verb. Let's look at the original sentence again. Clara said that she had not seen the missing letter, which means that she declined seeing the missing letter. And what you need here is deny or decline and follow the structure having plus third form. Why? Because in the original sentence you have past simple, Clara said, and after that a reference to something that happened before that. before the moment when she said something. So what you're having, past simple, past perfect. To keep the same order, past simple is substituted for the verb denied, and as you don't want to use the past perfect tense, just because we have having here, you need to use the perfect structure, having seen. Having seen keeps the meaning of past perfect. Part 16. Sentence 76. It's important to consider everyone's opinion before a final decision is made. Account is the keyword. Everyone's opinion must blank before a final decision is made. The transformation again consists of two parts. The first one is to figure out which phrase with account you need. A synonym of consider. A synonym of consider is to take into account. And from there on, the second part. Do you need active or passive? Well, in this case, you need passive. Because everyone's opinion, it needs to be considered. Everyone's opinion must be taken into account before a final decision is made. Take into account the phrase passive. After the modal verb, you have the infinitive, so must be taken into account. Sentence 77. There is no point in arguing about that matter. Word. That matter, blank. Word requires ing after that. Be word doing something is the complete structure that you need to stick to. So what we have? That matter isn't worth arguing about. Number 78. If your parcel is delayed, contact us. Delay is the keyword. The transformation. Should blank to your parcel, contact us. You see that the sentence starts with should. Yes, you need a new version. Correct. So, how it will be? Should there be a or any delay to your parcel, contact us. If your parcel is delayed, should there be any delay? Be careful again, it's a play of words. Delayed, the verb in the first sentence, turns into a noun in the transformation. And as it is a countable noun, don't forget to put some identifier in front. A or any in this case, just to indicate the need of reaction with the slightest effect of this one. 79. I have no intention of studying another degree. Dream. I blank another degree. Just reading it like that and not knowing the exact phrase, the transformation comes a little bit ridiculous, because in the first sentence it said that you have no intention of doing something, and the keyword given is dream, which means long for, strive for something, have a great wish to do something. Yeah, but I told you that CAE, in its biggest part, is an exam about set phrases, idioms, vocabulary, in other words. So what you need here is the structure wouldn't dream of doing whatever. Not to dream of doing something means you would not do this thing because you think it is wrong or silly, and it has nothing to do with dreaming. I wouldn't dream of studying another degree. which means exactly I have no intention of doing it. Number 8. Those two books are completely different. Common is the keyword. Those two books don't blank each other. It's easy, I think. They are completely different, maybe expressed with the common structure, and the whole phrase is they have nothing to do with each other. They have nothing in common with each other. Those two books don't have anything in common with each other. Be careful with the usage of the verb structure. Don't have. The verb is used in its negative form, which means that you can't have nothing after that. You know perfectly well that in English there isn't double negative. So when you have don't once already used, after that you need any. Part 17. Sentence 81. I was surprised because we didn't have any problems when we traveled to Canada. Went to blank wrong when we traveled to Canada. The first part of the transformation. I was surprised in the original sentence. The phrase you're required to come up with starts with to my surprise, correct. After that, wrong, went wrong, probably. To my surprise, nothing went wrong when we traveled to Canada. Again, we didn't have any problems. We didn't have any problems, because of the negative verb, didn't have. Here in the transformation, went is in its positive form, so you can't use anything. You need nothing to put the emphasis on the negative meaning. Sentence 82. Kelvin should call in a builder to repair those broken roof tiles. Get is the keyword. Kelvin should blank by a builder. A structure we have already discussed, and I told you that we'll meet again in these transformations because it's really common for the CAE level. Get something done means to call in a professionalist, to rely on their experience, and to have something fixed for you. So what we have in our case, Kelvin should get those broken roof tiles repaired by a builder. Get something done. Something is done for you as a professional favor. Number 83. Remember to write or phone, Martha said as she waved goodbye to her friend. Touch is the keyword. Don't blank, Martha said as she waved goodbye to her friend. Remember is part of those groups of those verbs that form two ways of structuring themselves. So you may say remember to do something or remember doing something. Remember doing, the same pattern as regret doing, refers to something done in the past. Remember to refers to the future. And awkward though it may sound, remember to write is the same as don't forget to. Okay? Remember to, don't forget to. Don't forget to keep in touch, Martha said. Again, the double nature of the transformations. Don't forget to the grammatical part, keep in touch, the test of your vocabulary level. Sentence 84. Police are warning people to check for forged notes which are currently in circulation. Forged notes, these are duplicates, not real money. Look out is the keyword. Police are warning people to be blank forged notes which are currently in circulation. Even if you are not quite sure for the phrase here, you can figure it out. You're asked to use the phrase be on the lookout for somebody. It means to be watching carefully in order to find or avoid someone or something. In our case, police are warning people to be on the lookout for forged notes which are currently in circulation. People are required to be careful, and if they come across these forged notes or duplicates, they are probably supposed to call the police. Number 85. Apparently, they are planning on rerouting the traffic to reduce congestion. Drone is the keyword. Plans blank reroute the traffic to reduce congestion. Two things you may come up with immediately. They are planning in the original sentence. Plans something, which means that from active you need to go to passive. The passive requires a verb, right? And you have drone, which is a third form. So probably you need plans are being to keep our planning, to keep the present continuous form, are being drawn, and you need to finish the phrasal verb. The phrasal verb is draw up. Draw up means to prepare and write something such as a document or plan. So, plans are being drawn up to reroute the traffic to reduce congestion. Part 18. Sentence 86. Didn't you want me to tell the staff about your resignation? Rather is the keyword. Would blank the staff know about your resignation? When you see rather as required part of the construction that you are to formulate, be careful if you speak about yourself only, or if two or more people are concerned. When you refer to somebody else, it becomes a conditional structure, which means you need to go one step back in time, because you can't be sure for the behavior, for the expectations, for the way the other person would react. So in our case, would you rather I had not let the staff about your resignation? Would you rather, the first person, you, the second subject, I. So would you want me not to do something? And because you can just express the wish, you cannot control, the second part after I is in conditional structure. Going one step back from past simple, you are in past perfect. Sentence 87. Brian couldn't explain how the stolen computer got into the boot of his car. Loss is the keyword. Brian blank how the stolen computer got into the boot of his car. When you can't explain something, you are at loss of explaining something, or you are unable to do it. So, can't do something is the same as be at a loss to do something. Brian was at a loss to explain how the stolen computer got into the boot of his car. B. At a loss to do something. Sentence 88. How can I make him understand that I don't want to see him anymore? Across is the key word. How can I blank that I don't want to see him anymore? The structure you are required to use in this case is from that group which you either know or don't and you can't figure out. Get something across to someone. It means to make somebody understand. So get something across to. In other way, just you want to show him, to let him know that. How can I get it across to him that I don't want to see him anymore? Get something across to somebody. 89. They put Roger in charge of health and safety at the factory. Mate is the key word. Roger blank for health and safety in the factory. When somebody is in charge of something, he's responsible for something. And going further, the whole phrase put somebody in charge of can be substituted with make somebody responsible for. Roger was made responsible for health and safety in the factory. You have a hint here given in the transformation under the original sentence. For, the preposition is given, and you see in charge of. So you start thinking which phrase requires for after that. The second key that you may think of. They put Roger. This one is past simple active. The second part, Roger, so from active you need to go to passive. Passive in past simple is the verb to be, the auxiliary verb, in the correct form was or were, and made, the verb, the meaningful verb after that. Roger was made responsible for. Number 90. The government recently said our problems are the fault of the worldwide economic slowdown. Placed is the keyword. The government have blank the worldwide economic slowdown for our problems. The tense structure is already started for you. Recently is the key word, the tense marker in the original sentence. Recently is the indicator for present perfect. And the same rules apply in the transformation. So have placed is the structure that is done out of the blue. And from there, you need to think about blame. Place the blame on somebody or on something in order to feel the whole meaning of the transformation. The government have placed the blame on, so be careful here about the tense, if it is formed correctly. I have even seen cases in which, for example, in this situation, have is already given, but the student knows that they need present perfect, and they just ignore have, which is written, and write have again. Well, sorry, this will just deprive you of the point. Part 19. Sentence 91. It doesn't matter how well you drive. You shouldn't have sped. However, is the keyword. You shouldn't have sped blank drive. Reading the original sentence, you see that it's the first part that you need to paraphrase and to use in the blank. It doesn't matter how well. Here, even if you haven't encountered the structure so far, I think it's not difficult to come up with it. You shouldn't have sped, however well you drive. Here, however well, is the same as it doesn't matter how well. Again, a good structure to have in your writing section implied. Sentence 92. I didn't know universities were so expensive in Spain. I blank so much in Spain. The transformation consists of two parts, as usual. Idea is the part which refers to the first part of the original sentence, I didn't know. And after that you need to think for something else to fill the meaning, something that requires so. I had no idea, up to here it's clear, that, if you want, universities cost, the verb, cost so much in Spain. I guess it's easy, I guess you know it, I'm sure, but just to say cost, cost, cost. Irregular verb, the three forms are identical. Sentence 93. Don't get depressed because of that small detail. Let is the key word. It's such a small detail that you shouldn't blank down. So get depressed is the structure that you need to substitute for a phrasal verb. And apart from that, you have a let something do something. You have the infinitive. It's such a small detail that you shouldn't let it, the detail, get you down. Get somebody down means to get somebody depressed, to deprive somebody of their good feelings, of their good mood, whatever. Get somebody down. It's such a small detail that you shouldn't let it get you down. Number 94. It is reported that the Prime Minister is now recovering in hospital. Recovery is the keyword. The Prime Minister is reported blank in hospital now. Be careful with this kind of impersonal constructions. So the Prime Minister is reported. Then you need to introduce the second verb. He's reported what? When it started on this way, you need to continue with the appropriate second part of the verb. Report requires two infinitive. To be. And after that, what? The Prime Minister is reported to be making a recovery. Why? Because the verb is recovering in the original sentence is in present continuous. And you need to keep this state. You need to show that this is an action in progress. To show that this is an action in progress, you need the continuous infinitive to be making a recovery. Don't forget the because recovery is countable noun. And usually, I've mentioned this one, usually such small details really deprive you of the points, and after that the feeling is not good, knowing that you know the whole transformation and you've just missed the article. Sentence 95. My teacher said that I didn't have a serious enough attitude to English. I don't blank to my teacher. Seriously is the keyword. The original sentence can be divided into two parts, your transformation as well. So the key parts that may give you a hint what you need. To my teacher said. Well, think how you may refer to somebody who is giving opinion, somebody who is an authority from your point of view. Yes, according to. The preposition just helps you think in that direction. The first part of the transformation, I don't have a serious enough attitude, is the same as I don't take it seriously. And what's happening? I don't take English seriously according to my teacher. Part 20. Sentence 96. The car has almost run out of petrol. Hardly is the keyword. Blank left in the car. When the car has almost run out of petrol, it means that there is almost no petrol there, right? Now, what you need to think about is how to paraphrase this one with hardly and to keep the structure as given. Just a note I want to remind here, the difference between hard and hardly. Hardly is not the adverb from hard. Okay. And the negative connotation is incorporated in hardly. There is hardly any petrol left in the car. Because of the fact that hardly keeps the negative connotation, you need any. You can't say some, you need any. This is considered a negative sentence. Sentence 97. I really wanted to impress the new boss. Desperate is the keyword. I blank the new boss a good impression. The first thing that you start thinking about. Impress is verb in the first sentence. Impression is the noun. So what is the phrase that's coming from impress as a verb, consists of impression and holds a verb? Make an impression or give an impression. So I was desperate to give the new boss a good impression. If it is make, it should have been to make a good impression to somebody. And because here you have give somebody a good impression, give is the most appropriate phrase to be used. I was desperate to give the new boss a good impression. Sentence 98. Pauline asked me to have a quick look at the report before it was made public. I is the keyword. Pauline asked me blank the report before it was made public. A set phrase is what you need here, and the phrase is cast an eye over. To cast an eye over means to check or to read through. So, Pauline asked me to cast my eye over the report before it was made public. Sentence 99. The twins are so alike that most people find it hard to distinguish one from the other. Difference is the keyword. The twins are so alike that not many people blank them. Distinguish is the verb used in the original sentence. Difference is what needs to be included in a phrase in the second one. And the phrase is tell the difference between. This is exactly what means distinguish. So, The twins are so alike that not many people can tell the difference between them. Sentence 100. Unfortunately, Kate has decided to withdraw from the competition. Who is the keyword? Unfortunately, Katie has made up blank the competition. The first part of the transformation, has made up, this phrase needs to be ended up on a way to mean has already decided. When you decide something, you make up your mind. Good, this one was the easy part. After that, to withdraw, withdraw is the meaningful verb that now needs to be substituted for a phrasal verb with pull. And this phrasal verb is pull out. To pull out means to leave or no longer be involved in something. So, what's happening? Unfortunately, Kate has made up her mind to pull out of the competition. Part 21. Sentence 1. Surely, if Sandra had caught the train, she'd be here by now. Missed is the keyword. Sandra, blank, should be here by now. I'd want to focus on the original sentence first. If Sandra had caught the train, she'd be here by now. It's a conditional sentence, a mixed conditional. You see that in the first part, past perfect is used, and we use past perfect when we speak about something in the past that didn't happen. So, if Sandra had caught, obviously she didn't, she would be here by now, but she is not. So, the first part of the sentence refers to the past, the second one to the present. And the transformation now. Sandra, blank, should be here by now. The second part is kept. It's the same. It refers to the present. What we need to paraphrase is the first part, which refers to some certainty in the past. What you want to express is that you're certain that something happened or didn't happen in the past. And in order to express it, we are using a modal verb. The modal verb which expresses certainty in the past is must. Must, have, and then the verb in the third form. In our case, Sandra must have missed the train or should be here by now. Sentence 2. I need to arrange to have my hair done soon. Time is the keyword. It's blank with the hairdresser. When time is part of the transformation, you usually think of it's time or it's high time. The difference is that it's high time puts the accent on the fact that you're really, really late with the action that you were supposing to take. And after both of these, it's time or it's high time, you go to past simple. You go to one step back. So it's time I made an appointment with the hairdresser. Because from the context you can't see if it is really late or it is normally late, you can opt for whichever you want, either high time or just time. Sentence 3. The way he behaves is intolerable. Put is the keyword. I can't blank any longer. The phrasal verb which is tested in this sentence is put up with. To put up with means to be willing to accept someone's behavior or someone's attitude or someone's mood. You put up with this, or you can't put up with that. For example, I can't put up with my noisy neighbors anymore. I need to do something. Here, in the sentence, I can't put up with his intolerable behavior any longer. Sentence 4. Sarah has responsibility for encouraging pupils to read at the school where she works. Charge is the keyword. Sarah blank at the school where she works. When you have the responsibility for something, it means that you are responsible for something. When you are responsible for something, it means you are in charge of something or of doing something. Sarah is in charge of encouraging reading at the school where she works. Sentence 5. When writing for the student magazine, you should remember that teachers will read it too. Word is the keyword, and the transformation. When you write for the school magazine, blank, mind that teachers will read it too. Word as a word by itself is almost always part of the construction. It's worth remembering. It's worth keeping in mind that, for example, teachers will read it too. So word is something that requires the verb to be in ing form after that. And the second part of the transformation, mind, is how your second sentence needs to start with the second part of the sentence. So the first one is keep in mind. The other phrase is bear in mind. The options. When you write for the school magazine, it's worth bearing in mind that teachers will read it too. Or it's worth keeping in mind that, or it's worth having in mind that. Part 22. Sentence 6. I have absolutely no interest in TV reality shows. Appeal is the keyword. The transformation. TV reality shows, blank, in the least. When you are not interested in something, or when you have no interest in something, it means that this thing doesn't appeal to you. And this is the transformation we are doing here. TV reality shows do not or don't appeal to me in the least. Just don't forget that regardless of the fact how you will write do not or don't, these are counted as two words. Just to be sure. Sentence 7. They had offered him a gun for his protection. Protect is the keyword. They had offered him a gun, so blank himself. The first transformation already done for you that you may take notice of is the change of the verb of the word form from noun to verb. Protection, protect. So is always followed by that, so that, and the reason after that. This you may conclude from the change of the word form, even, that something like this needs to be introduced. They had offered him a gun so that he could protect himself. Considering that the sentence is in past perfect, past simple, you can't just have the verb protect. You may have protect only if it functions as an infinitive and there is a modal verb before that. Here, this role is played by could After that, it's okay just to put the infinitive. Protect. Sentence 8. Having even a small quantity of drugs in your possession is illegal. It, blank, have even a small quantity of drugs in your possession. When something is illegal, it means that this thing is against the law. And it is against the law to do something. It's against the law to have even a small quantity of drugs in your possession. Sentence 9. People generally think of bowls as a sport for old people. Bowls, blank, to be a sport for old people. Let's suppose that you have no idea what kind of sport this is, okay? But what you may conclude from the given sentence is that it is a sport. First, it's sport. Second, it's in singular. And this is enough. It doesn't matter how exactly it looks like. In fact, just Google it, go to images, and you will see what is meant by this one. So, what you have with considered is the structure be considered to be. The question here is if it is or are. And please don't be misled by the fact that this sport finishes in S. It is a sport. It's singular. So, bowls is generally considered to be a sport for old people. Sentence 10. The landscape became wilder as we traveled further inland. The is the keyword. And the transformation. The further we traveled, the landscape became. From the sentence started, you see that a specific construction has already begun. The construction is the plus the second form of the adjective, and you know that it's followed by something, and after it again the same, the second form of the adjective. For example, the more, the merrier. The sooner, the better. The better, the better. Even this one can be said. So, what we have is the further we traveled, where? Inland, taken from the first sentence, the wilder the landscape became. The second form of adjective, the second form of adjective. Part 23. Sentence 11. It is advisable not to go swimming after a heavy meal. Avoid is the keyword. You, blank, swimming after a heavy meal. When something is advisable, it means that you advise somebody to do or not to do it. So in the transformation, think for the modal verb that you need here. Correct, should. This is the first part of what is tested. After that, after should, you have the infinitive, should avoid. And the second part of the knowledge tested here is the verb pattern after avoid. Avoid is followed by gerund, by verb plus ing, avoid doing something. Which means you should avoid going swimming after a heavy meal. Sentence 12. You can't learn all the vocabulary for the exam. All you can do is keep your fingers crossed. Hope is the keyword. You can't learn all the vocabulary for the exam. The only thing to do, blank, the best. It's completely applicable for you too. So, the phrase with hope is hope for the best. You can't learn all the vocabulary for the exam. The only thing to do is to hope for the best. Pay attention to the idiom used in the first sentence as well. Keep your fingers crossed. The transformation might be given vice versa, and you may be asked to fill in the missing part of the idiom, because idioms are again a part of the CAE exam or in general of the advanced vocabulary that is quite often tested. Sentence 13. At the last minute, her courage failed her, and she decided not to leave home after all. Nerve is the keyword. At the last minute, she, blank, and she decided not to leave home after all. When your courage fails you, it means that you lose courage. And to lose courage is the same as to lose your nerve. This is what is searched for here. At the last minute, she lost her nerve and she decided not to leave home after all. Number 14. I can't wait to see her again. Forward is a keyword. I'm really blank her again. A typical transformation, you've been practicing this probably several times, especially if you've passed through the CAE Transformations course. With forward, the structure that you need is look forward to doing something. And don't forget this ing form after to. Something not typical, but something really necessary to be written in this way. I'm really looking forward to seeing her again. 15. Thank goodness we avoided the worst of the traffic. Lucky we blank the worst of the traffic. You need to paraphrase the first part of the original sentence. And the structure that you need is be lucky. I'm lucky to do something. Just pay attention to the tense used in the original sentence. Past simple. You don't have any indicator in the transformation that this tense needs to be altered. So just stick to it. We were lucky to avoid the worst of the traffic. Part 24. Sentence 16. I wish I hadn't phoned my sister-in-law. Regret. I blank that phone call to my sister-in-law. The verb regret, as you already know, when talking about the past, is used with a verb plus ing after that. I regret doing something, or I regret having done something, or I regret that I had done something. This one depends on the way you're supposed to express yourself. Depends on the sequence of tenses given in the original transformation. I regret having made that phone call to my sister-in-law as the normal way you refer to something that had happened in the past. Because you are in the CAE exam, you can't just say I regret making that phone call. In general, it's okay. I mean, if you just speak, there would not be such a great difference saying I regret having made or I regret making. The slight difference is that saying having made, you specify, you put the accent, you emphasize that this is something that happened really in the past. But no difference in general, regret having made, regret making. Just in the CAE transformations, the minimum number of words you're supposed to use is 3. So this one is applicable here. Number 17. We can't buy a new flat. We don't have enough money. Afford. We blank a new flat. You know that afford is a word, a verb, which is used when specifying something material. You can't afford to do something material. And what is tested here is first if you know the difference between afford and the other verbs that are used for buying something, and at the same time if you know the verb pattern, afford to, not afford plus gerund. We can't afford to buy a new flat. Number 18. He says he's never met her before. Denies he blank her before. Let's first pay a closer look to the first sentence. He says, present simple. He's never met her before refers to experience, something that has happened in an indefinite period in the past. Present perfect. Okay, so there is a difference between the two tenses. And this same difference you need to keep, you need to preserve it in the transformation. Denies is already in the correct verb form. You have past simple. He denies. The verb deny requires ing after that. I deny seeing her. But I deny seeing her means that I deny seeing her now. Whereas you need to say that he denies something before that. In this case, you need to be careful about the sequence of tenses because what you need is the perfect structure. He denies having met her before. Be very careful with this one. Sequence of tenses in the original sentence needs to be kept in the transformation if no other markers exist. The other way to say it, he denies that he has met her before. On this way, you also say that there is a difference because he denies now that he has met her before. It refers to the experience. Sentence 19. To me, he looks exactly the same in the photo as he does in real life. Difference is the keyword. I can't see blank way he looks in the photo and in real life. It's easy as transformation. Any difference. I can't see any difference in the way he looks in the photo and in real life. Something that you may confuse here is missing any, for example. Any is used, in negative structures. And because the verb can't see is used with its negative form, you need the identifier any, not some. Sentence 20. The judges were generally less keen on stories set in the past than contemporary stories. Tended is the keyword. The judges blank on contemporary stories than stories set in the past. Tend to do something. This is the key, this is the phrase. So, the judges tended to be keener on contemporary stories than stories set in the past. Tend is the same as willing. I'm willing to accept, or I agree with, I'm willing to believe in. I tend to do this one. I'm willing to do it. Part 25. Sentence 21. This building does not appear to be finished. Look is the keyword. This building blank is finished. Does not appear from the first sentence now needs to be paraphrased and to be used look as part of a structure which can replace does not appear. The options are to look as if it is or look as though it is. This building does not or doesn't look as if it is finished. Or this building doesn't look as though it is finished. Just be careful with the spelling of though if you choose this option. Sentence 22. Several of the candidates were not considered because of their age. Past is the keyword. Several of the candidates blank to their age. Not a very easy transformation. So they were not considered. This is the first part that needs to be changed, and were not considered needs to be substituted by a phrasal verb, by a structure here. The second part which needs substitution is because of. You have to, so think for a phrase which is synonym of because of, but requires to after it. For the first part, overdue. To be overdue means that you should have done something before, or something should have been done. In the context, several of the candidates were past overdue owing to their age, or due to their age. Due to their age or owing to their age is clear. I want to pay again attention to the first part. Several of the candidates were past overdue because of their age. To be past overdue as a whole phrase means not to be considered, to be ignored. And after that is introduced the reason. You've already noticed that at this level there are some constructions that you are either aware of or you can't just figure out. So one more time, try to memorize as many possible constructions as you may encounter, really. And at least these 150 sentences, learn them. If you need a second part of the course, just tell me. I can do 150 more. It's important to be able to pass the grammar part, because this one first will reflect on your mark, second on your writing and speaking, and third, this will improve your English in general. In order to be able to say that you are well aware of English and that you speak English fluently, you're supposed to be able to express yourself via different structures. Okay. Sentence 23. For many teenagers, their friends are their highest priority. Matters is the keyword. Friendship is blank, many teenagers. By contrast to the previous one, this one is easy, is what matters the most. Friendship is what matters most or the most to many teenagers. Don't forget the preposition here, to. Sentence 24. George missed the meeting because he overslept. Would is the keyword. If George had blank missed the meeting. The original sentence refers to something in the past. The transformation starts with if. Well, obviously, you need a conditional structure which expresses an activity in the past. And such a conditional sentence which refers to activities in the past only, is third conditional. Just to revise the structure, if, past perfect, would have, and the third form of the verb. If George had not overslept, comma, the comma is important, he would not have missed the meeting. Exactly 6 words. Number 25. Could you please reply to this email as soon as possible? Grateful is the keyword. I, blank, would reply to this email as soon as possible. Here, it's not a matter of just implementing the rule of the conditional sentences, but understanding the meaning of the original one. It's a polite sentence. It's a polite request that is expressed. And in order to keep it in the transformation, you need to substitute the usual will and the usual present simple, which are used in the first conditional, with would. And this one really makes the sentence, the transformation, sound polite as a request. I would be grateful if you would reply to this email as soon as possible. If you use English on daily basis at your work, if you write emails, if you are involved in correspondence, this is typical way of keeping the appropriate level of formality and saying that something is supposed to be done in a polite way. So take a notice and start applying this one to your correspondence. Part 26. Sentence 26. We would have gone climbing if Brian hadn't advised us not to. For is the keyword. If it, blank, we would have gone climbing. A typical structure is this one with for. If it hadn't been for somebody, which means if not thanks to that one, something else would have happened. It is for somebody's action, thanks to somebody's action. Or, in practice, if it hadn't been for Brian's advice, we would have gone climbing. Why hadn't been? Because we are keeping the structure introduced in the original sentence, the third conditional, just starting with the if clause now. Sentence 27. Marek wasn't given any assistance in writing the report. O is the keyword. Marek wrote, blank, himself. When you are not given any assistance or any help for something, it means that you did this thing all by yourself. Marek wrote the report all by himself. Number 28. Freda still hasn't decided if she will study medicine or law next year. Poor girl. Mind is the key word. And the transformation. Freda still hasn't, blank, to study medicine or law next year. If you decide something, you make up your mind about this thing. So when you see the verb decide, and you have mind as word of the expected transformation, the phrase is make up my mind. Be careful about the linking only. Freda still hasn't started present perfect and you're continuing present perfect. Still is the tense marker. So Freda still hasn't made up her mind whether to study medicine or law next year. If can be used instead of whether as well. Sentence 29. It's possible that Katie has been delayed by the tube strike. Held is the keyword. The transformation. Katie may blank by the tube strike. Think the given word first. Held. Start thinking, what's this? It's not the verb. Or it's the verb. Yeah, it's the verb, but it's not the infinitive given. It's the verb in a tense. Hold, held, held. Either the second or the third form. It's possible that she has been delayed. So you're to express possibility about something that has happened in the past. The structure started in the transformation is with the modal verb may, which means that you need may have and continue it after that. The key here is to think of hold up, because this phrasal verb probably you don't know, but you may figure it out in fact. To hold up means to cause a delay for someone or something, or to make them late. So knowing all this now, I think the transformation is easy. Katie may have been held up by the tube strike. May have been, the perfect modal structure, may for the past possibility. Held up is the phrasal verb that is needed here in order to match the meaning of the original sentence. Sentence 30. They'll blame the failure of the festival on the weather. Again, your favorite blame. Blame something on something. Put is the keyword. The transformation. The failure of the festival blank the weather. Now you need to think for a synonym of blame again. Put down to. This is the phrasal verb that is required in this situation. Put down to is used when you refer to something as a reason for happening. The failure of the festival will be put down to the weather. The weather is the reason why something happened. Will be put down is using the tense introduced in the original sentence, future simple, will. So instead of will blame, you use the phrasal construction will be put down to. Part 27. Sentence 31. When people speak down to my sister, she hates it. Being. My sister hates blank to like that. First, what means speak down to somebody? To speak down to somebody means to speak to someone in a simple way, as if the person cannot understand things as well as you can. In other words, it's the same as to underestimate somebody or not to appreciate someone. But in fact, even not knowing the exact meaning of speak down to somebody, you can do the transformation. And you can do it because you have hate as started verb structure. You know that hate requires ink after that. So she hates being, you use the given keyword, and after that you are using the same phrasal verb as the one given in the original sentence. Sentence 32. I know it's dangerous, but I love hang gliding. May is the keyword. Dangerous, blank. I love hang gliding. I know it's dangerous. This part needs to be paraphrased. And you start with the adjective, dangerous. Starting on this way, you have the option to say dangerous though it may be, which is exactly the same as although it is dangerous or although it may be dangerous. Dangerous though it may be, I love hang gliding. Again, this is a structure I advise you on using in your speaking, in your writing. It just shows that you're aware of expressing yourself in a little bit different way, not via the ordinary structures only. And it shows that you know the language at a little bit better level. Sentence 33. I'd prefer you not to stay out so late. Rather is the key word. I'd blank stay out so late. Look at the first sentence. Prefer is one of the structures that is usually given, so the transformation can be given vice versa. I'd prefer you, so there are two subjects. I prefer you not to do something. In the second sentence, rather is the given word. You know that when we use rather and the people in the whole situation are two, you use kind of conditional structure. Why? Because you can't be sure what the reaction, what the behavior of the other person would be. And in fact, you express only your intention, your desire. I'd rather you didn't stay out so late. Not I'd rather you don't stay. I'd rather, the same as I wish. I'd rather you didn't stay out so late. Number 34. I don't think it's important how fast we drive. We are going to be late. Matter is the keyword. We are going to be late, blank, drive. I don't think it's important how fast we drive. It means that it doesn't matter how fast we drive. One way or another, we are going to be late. Now, this transformation you need to include in the given structure and to paraphrase it in a way to fit the requirement to use from 3 to 6 words. No matter what, no matter when, no matter how, this is the structure that you need. We are going to be late no matter how fast we drive. No matter how fast, it doesn't matter how fast. Number 35. We paid someone to fix the roof for us last summer. Had is the keyword, the transformation. Last summer, we blank. A structure we have already discussed. When you need a professional favor, in other words, when you pay for somebody to do something for you, and this is their occupation, so this structure is have something done or get something done. Last summer, we had the roof fixed. Have something done. Have, in the past had, something, the roof, third form of the verb, fixed. Part 28. Sentence 36. You should have spoken to Meg sooner. Spoken is the key word. If blank, to make sooner. You should have spoken is a structure which expresses criticism about the past. You criticize somebody on doing or on not doing something. The way to transform it is to say it with if only. If only is the same as I wish. So, what's happening? If only you had spoken to Meg sooner. Why had spoken? I told you that if only is identical as a pattern to I wish. When you use wish sentence and you speak in the past, when you refer to the past, you use past perfect. Well, the same rule applies here. If only you had spoken to Meg sooner. Number 37. You played your music too loud last night, John said to Ben angrily. Accused is the key word. John, blank, his music too loud the previous night. Accuse is a verb which requires ink after that. This is clear. But again, please pay attention to the sequence of tenses. So accuse somebody of doing something, and John accused Ben or Jan of having played his music too loud the previous night. Why having played? Because the original sentence, the direct speech, is in past simple. You start with your reportive verb in past simple. You know that when going from direct to reported speech and the reportive verb is in past simple, everything needs to go one step back. Well, okay, keeping this one step back with the ing form is via saying having the perfect form, the perfect gerund. So Jan accused Ben of having played his music too loud the previous night. Number 38. How can I make her understand that I don't want to talk to her anymore? Across is the keyword. How can I blank that I don't want to talk to her anymore? There was a similar situation already. I really hope that you remember it, and I deliberately put this sentence here just because it's something not typical and something that you have probably made a mistake with the first time when you were introduced to the phrase. So the structure is get something across to somebody, which means to make somebody understand. How can I get it across to her that I don't want to talk to her anymore? Number 39. Parents predict chaos in schools unless the strike is called off. Result is the key word. Parents claim it blank. The teacher's strike goes ahead. Focus on the meaning of the sentences first. So, parents predict chaos in schools unless is the same as if not. So, we are faced with a conditional structure. And this conditional structure is to be preserved in the second sentence. Parents claim it result, so something will result in something else. Parents claim it will result in chaos if the teacher's strike goes ahead. First conditional. Number 40. The police caught the pickpockets easily. No is the key word. Police blank the pickpockets. Here you have several options. Have difficulty in doing something, or have problem in doing something, or even skipping the in. The transformation is easy, I think. Just be careful with the tenses that you're using. Caught in the original sentence, past simple. And you are preserving this past simple in the second one. Either saying the police or police, in this situation it doesn't matter. Police had no difficulty catching the pickpockets, or had no difficulty in catching the pickpockets, or had no problems in catching, or had no problem in catching. Actually, the options are 4. Part 29. Sentence 41. If you must be noisy, could you go outside and play? Insist is the keyword. If you blank noise, could you go outside to play? The structure is in fact the verb pattern used with insist, and you know it. Insist on doing something. So, if you insist on making noise, could you go outside to play? Sentence 42. It's possible that they got the wrong idea that the party was next week. Reached is the keyword. They might blank conclusion that the party was next week. You're hypothesizing over something that may have happened in the past, and the transformation has already been started with the phrasal verb, with the modal verb, might. So in these cases, you may use either may or might and go to the perfect structure after that. Might have or may have happened. The second part of the transformation, apart from the grammar one, is the lexical, as usual. Reach a conclusion is what is required as a phrase to be implemented here. So the situation. They might have reached the wrong conclusion that the party was next week. Sentence 43. It was a mistake not to write the telephone number down. Point is the keyword. I should blank writing down the telephone number. Reading the original sentence, you see that the situation refers to the past. The transformation is started with should, so you need to use a modal verb for the past, and you know that I should have done it refers to past criticism. You criticized somebody on doing or not doing something. You hear perfect. What about point? Make a point of doing something. To make a point of doing something means to take particular care to do something. So the criticism is that you didn't do something. How it should be? I should have made a point of writing down the telephone number. You criticize yourself that you didn't do something. Should have made a point of. Should have tried. Should have done it. Sentence 44. Apparently, they are planning on changing the scheme to reduce traffic. Made is the keyword. Plans blank the scheme to reduce traffic. They are planning active. Plans whatever passive. Keep the tense. So what's happening? Plans are being made. Plans are being made to do something, to change the scheme to reduce traffic. Sentence 45. Can you possibly get me the work as soon as possible? Appreciate is the keyword. I blank you could get the work to me as soon as possible. Polite request, polite sentences. These polite sentences, the meaning of them is always given via would or could, used where appropriate. So in this case, I would appreciate it if you could get the work to me as soon as possible. When you want to make a situation, to make a sentence, to make a phrase polite, you just use would or could. Part 30, the last part of this course. Sentence 46. Davina can't even boil an egg, and so she certainly couldn't cook a whole meal. Alone is the key word. Davina can't even boil an egg, blank, a whole meal. One of the transformations that you are either aware of the structures used or you can't do it. Let alone. Let alone is used to indicate that something is far less likely or suitable than something else already mentioned. In our case, Davina can't even boil an egg, something mentioned. Let alone cook a whole meal, even less possible than what has already been mentioned. Number 47. He answered the judge's questions as accurately as he could. He gave blank as he could to the judge's question. In the original sentence, the structure as accurately as is used. The keyword is accurate, so you see the transformation from the adverb accurately to the adjective accurate. Good. He answered accurately. The combination verb, adverb. Now you have he gave what? Accurate answer. Exactly. And the other hint that you're given here is as. The structure that the second part of the transformation starts with. When you have as needs to be introduced one more time in order to finish the whole structure. He gave as accurate an answer as he could. Number 48. Yesterday, I informed my boss in writing that I would be leaving the company. Notice is the keyword. I blank to my boss yesterday. The important piece of information introduced to you in the first part is that this action was done in writing. To hand in my notice, this phrase imposes exactly this kind of activity. When you hand in your notice, you tell your employer that you are leaving your job, especially in a letter, something that was said in the original sentence. I handed in my notice to my boss yesterday. Number 49. This holiday is within our price range, provided we don't go to the expensive restaurant in the tourist center. Afford is the keyword. We blank as we avoid the expensive restaurants in the tourist center. Reading the original sentence given, you understand that you can afford, you can pay for that holiday under the condition that something happens. Or in other words, if something happens, you can afford it. Good. In the transformation, the part after the blank is started with as. So which structure means if and has as inside? Exactly, as long as. And this is what you need in this case. We can afford this holiday as long as we avoid the expensive restaurants in the tourist center. Sentence 50. If Mark hadn't taken up politics, he might have become a famous art historian. Name is the key word. If Mark hadn't taken up politics, he might have blank himself as an art historian. The grammar structure is given and you don't need to change it. It's third conditional. Both of the structures refer to the past, before and after the comma. What you need here is to make the vocabulary transformation and from become famous to change to a structure that contains name in itself. Make a name. Make a name for myself. To make a name for yourself means to become famous or respected by a lot of people. So the transformation. If Mark hadn't taken up politics, he might have made a name for himself as an art historian. That was it. Thank you very much for being part of this course. I hope it was useful for you. I hope you've succeeded in understanding a lot of new things and that you will start applying them. Of course, if there is something that hasn't been explained clearly enough, just don't hesitate to give me a note, to write a question. I'll be always there to answer. If not me, somebody else of the students, why not? Because in fact, answering and explaining is the best way to practice. If you can explain something, it means you understand it. And if you understand it, it means you will be able to apply it after that. Good luck everyone, and see you again.